Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the teaser trailer that just came out for the series Helstrom. If you have not seen it already, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. Obviously, it's a teaser trailer that doesn't really tell us too much. It just I consider it kind of like a tone setter, basically, which I think is kind of fascinating because, you know, the trailer does not feel like a Marvel show. I mean, they actually don't even mention the fact that this is actually a Marvel show. But nevertheless, I read a little bit about this character a while back when it was originally announced that this was going to be a show along with the other animated stuff, as well as, you know, the now no longer happening Ghost Rider show. But everything I remembered, the little bit I read about and learned, I actually forgot because this was like last year I read up about. But if I had to compare it to anything, and even just the tone of it, because the show kind of reminds me of like Exorcist like type of stuff, because it's like some like dark and sinister like supernatural stuff, which I think is kind of interesting because that's a side of the Marvel universe we haven't tackled yet in any shape or form. And even this is different tonally from like, because yeah, Legion had kind of its quote unquote scary parts, like there were like horror elements to it, but it was mainly just very like psychological and trippy. But like I said, there were horror elements. This seems like it's going to be the first like Marvel property to heavily lean into the more like well, not only supernatural side of things, because that was one of the things I was looking forward to with Ghost Rider, because we're definitely going to handle that more supernatural side of things, because I've talked about it before. Everything up till now has been more so on the science fictional side of things. There have been hints of like supernatural stuff, like more magical stuff, whether it be your Doctor Strange things, whether the Infinity Stones kind of technically fall in that category, not they're on a cosmic level, so sure, but also like Iron Fist, like those are like the only instances of like the more supernatural side of things. And like I said, everything else has pretty much been science fictional. Like if I had to compare it to anything, and I know this is me comparing apples and oranges because I'm about to make reference to a DC, but it kind of reminds me of Constantine. Not necessarily the exact same thing as Constantine, but more so on the parallel, like how like Constantine in the DC universe deals with like that level of like supernatural and demonic stuff. I think this is going to be like that Marvel equivalency. Like it's going to be on that same level of like, oh, this is going to deal with like very demonic stuff. Like like I said, it does not look and feel like, I think, like I said, this is just based on this teaser we've seen alone. It doesn't seem like any other Marvel show, I think. It seems like from what we're getting from the teaser we saw, it just seemed like there are two siblings at the heart of all of this, and their mom who's connected to like, because it's like, oh, she unleashed something on Earth, something demonic. There's also the picture you see later on of their dad with his face scratched out, which immediately makes me think a little bit of Devil May Cry, because there are things in Devil May Cry that kind of scratched out the way their like, you know, Virgil and Dante's dad situation worked. Like they would, I can't remember if it was in the reboot DMC Devil May Cry or was it in the original. I want to say it was in the DMC, because like in the original Devil May Cry, see, like obviously like it's a little more demonic. It doesn't have a human form, regardless, tension and all that. It just immediately made me think of that. So I'm like, is this supposed to imply like their dad was something else? Because obviously I think the main protagonist, I think he is like part demon or whatever. Like could we see at one point in time there's like somebody like sitting on kind of like a throne of bones, so I don't know whether that's supposed to be like the devil or some demon in general. I mean, once again, I'm going into this knowing very little because I'm not well versed in the comic books. Like I said, I read about stuff like last year, but a tiny bit, and even all that I ended up forgetting. You know, maybe like the main protagonist, him and his sister kind of are like kind of connected to that world, because like there's this whole conversation about like this family not being right a little bit. So I guess like whatever their situation is, it's obviously kind of plagued them their entire life, and they've all been just kind of a little bit off because of that. Like I said, knowing next to nothing, like I said, it was mainly a tone setter of a trailer, I believe. A lot of like tiny out of context stuff, but I think it's enough to kind of definitely piqued my interest of like, holy crap, this looks like nice and spooky and eerie and scary, you know. I am curious to see what the show ends up becoming and what they end up doing, because this show was kind of on, like I said, that end of things where it's like, this kind of falls on the old regime of Marvel. So from my understanding, there was only going to be a one season, so this might be like a one and done. I mean, I think it probably depends on how well it does, but also once again, this is also depends on like where in the spectrum of like Marvel TV this falls. In fact, this is on Hulu and everything, makes me think like, I mean, well, also because it's on Hulu, they could go a lot further, so we'll probably be able to get the same kind of amount of like, you know, probably get like bloody and just kind of really out there like Legion or even the Netflix Marvel stuff, you know. So I mean, I'm also curious to see, like, I mean, maybe that'll speak volumes, like what other Marvel references they make within the universe, if they make any at all. Because like I said, it almost seems like they're doing their best not even acknowledge that this is a Marvel show, which is weird, but you know. So we'll kind of have to wait and see, ultimately see how everything plays out. The show's coming out in October, very befitting time. So it's probably going to be a while longer before we get a full-blown trailer, because that's still like, what, 3 months away. Obviously, this is just kind of what's going through my mind. In the comments down below, I'd love to get to know your thoughts. Like I said, it's a teaser trailer, not too much, but I'd like to know your thoughts about this. Was this enough to be like, all right, it piqued your interest? Are you going into this knowing a lot about Helstrom? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Really, that's all I want to talk about. Until next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.